Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Parent Solution, your one-stop shop for all things educational. On today's podcast, I'm addressing a common refrain that's heard from students or children to parents. But I'm not behind. This is usually followed by some other statement like, my grades are fine, or I'm ahead in class anyway. Other times, another comment will come out of fear. What will my friends think or say? Why do I need a tutor? Or what if I don't like them? So tutoring is, by general definition, additional help given from one individual to another, and it's usually in a particular academic subject. And this is the thing, nothing about tutoring within the actual meaning of the word suggests anything about the academic abilities of either the student or the tutor. And it's a curious matter, I think, that this is the sort of connotation surrounding tutoring and the concept of just extracurricular education in general. It's implied, because of how we as a society have shaped the word itself, that tutoring is something that's only needed for students who need help in a particular academic subject. I can say that, speaking from experience, how often I have heard parents echo the sentiments of their children, or had their children, who end up being my students, say something along the lines of, I don't need a tutor, or they say something along the lines of not needing a tutor, because after all, they're not behind in school. And so why would they want a tutor when they're doing just fine as is? So this idea is not to blame anyone or to point fingers. I do want to note, though, that this mentality comes from a mindset framework of reactivity, rather than from a personal process of proactivity. There's a saying, and it says, if it's not broken, don't fix it. That is true in many cases, but it is not true when it comes to education. It should not apply to education or learning in any sense of the word, because when it comes to the educational sphere, it's much better to be proactive than it is to be reactive. So think of it for a moment, if you will, in the context of your health and your fitness. So regardless of your personal opinions on diet and lifestyle, 98, maybe 99% of people are going to agree that exercise is good for your body, right? Movement in some way or some form is good for maintaining optimal health, whatever that happens to be for you. If that's yoga, if that's cardio, if that's weights, whatever it happens to be, people can agree on that opinion right there, that movement in some way, shape, or form is good for maintaining optimal health. So if an individual decided that they weren't going to move their body unless they absolutely had to, or until they absolutely had to, because quote, it works okay now, or it's fine as is, why try to improve it? Those around them would obviously try to show them the benefits of an abundance of movement, or even just movement in general, for the human body. Now, I'm sure that this would be backed up with years of scientific research, personal stories and experiences, as well as probably some questions about, said individuals' own feelings about health and fitness. And with all of these things, it would be very difficult for this person who says that they don't want to do anything with their health or don't want to do anything with their fitness. It would be very difficult for this individual to come to any conclusion other than, oh yeah, okay, movement is good for the body. And being proactive with my health and fitness is much better. And it's going to cost much less in the long run than being reactive will. Now, that's your health and fitness. So the case for education can be made in a similar manner. So just as you would not, or should not in any case, wait until your body's deteriorating before you want to take care of it, you shouldn't wait until there are signs of trouble before getting additional guidance and help. If you treat your body well, in most cases, you will either simplify or delay the problems and failures that come with aging. Learning is no different. If you treat your mind well and exercise it regularly, you reap many benefits, both mental and physical, because you're more alert and awake and ready to take on whatever challenge might come your way. So regardless of whether an educator works in the private sphere or in the public sphere, They can testify to the amount of children that are, at the very least, determined to be what we might say is academically behind as far as grades and testing goes. Children in general may be resistant to tutoring at first because of the fear of being quote-unquote behind, of quote-unquote having to have additional help, and that this places them apart from their peers. That's only natural. The fear of being excluded and being different is a powerful negative reinforcement that steers many students away from getting help, or even asking for it, or even worse, denying there's a problem in the first place. So this is the parent solution. I want to provide some concrete solutions for you guys to be able to identify and solve this sort of challenge. So the first thing that you want to do as a parent is to identify the challenges. Maybe there are no immediate challenges, in which case you want to identify the future challenges. If your child says something along the lines of there not being a problem and their grades are fine and they're okay and they don't need help, that's a common refrain among children, regardless of their actual grades or their actual feelings about the academics. In almost all cases that I have personally dealt with, it helps to remind your child that even though they may actually be more than fine now, that it doesn't mean that they won't run into struggles or challenges in the future. So if you approach the idea of tutoring and extracurricular help with your child from a proactive mindset, that's a really solid start to breaking down this particular barrier. The second thing that you want to do with your child is to emphasize a holistic approach to learning. So this is a thing. Tutoring, if it's done right, it often results in a closer relationship than your typical teacher and student relationship. And it's most definitely a different relationship than that of a parent and a child, although sometimes it can feel that way. So as a parent, breaking down your child's resistance, if there is that resistance there, is more about helping them see that a tutor offers more than the typical school experience and helps them prepare for their future, their best future. Learning is done, at their own pace, with things that they enjoy learning about, and definitely in ways that they learn best. And on top of that, it's an experience for them in itself, either with someone who can give them undivided attention or within a small group setting. I tell all my students who stress about learning and who stress about their academic progress that learning is a journey. It's not a destination. And the connection with a tutor is that they can bridge that gap. That's it for this week, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Remember, new episodes premiere every Tuesday at 5 a.m. EST on Spreaker. This is The Parent Solution. Remember, this is your one-stop shop for all things educational.